are pleased that people are here, and hopefully there is an audience watching virtually to learn about how the Metro budget works. We're going to begin with our trustee, Ms. Erica Gilmore, and I will turn it over to you.
So much. It is an honor to be with you tonight, Madam Chair Burkley of the Budget and Budget Committee. So we'll go ahead and we're happy to kick off Budget 101. I am Erica S. Gilmore. I'm the Davidson County Metropolitan Trustee, and I am the 7th Metropolitan Trustee for the City of Nashville and Davidson County. I would like to give acknowledgments by thanking the Metropolitan Budget Committee for inviting us to this kickoff Budget 101 and the Metropolitan Council for allocating funds for tax relief and the trustee's office employees and the members of the executive staff who I have with me tonight, Mr. Eugene Hampton, Mr. Kevin Schmidt, and Mr. Shia Hodge, and Mr. Nicholas Calvin. We put people first. That is our motto. We know it can be difficult when you're asking people to pay taxes. It's not a sexy topic. It's not a favorite topic of anyone, but that is our motto because we definitely put people first in our office. What do we do? The trustee in Davidson County collects real property, personality, and public utility taxes. This office also administers the State of Tennessee Tax Relief Program, Tax Deferral Program, the Tax Freeze Program. We collect and process delinquent taxes in the Central Business District Improvement District taxes, the Gulch Central Business Improvement District taxes, and we also collect a new district, which is the South Nashville Central Business Improvement Tax, as well as do vegetational liens. We wanted to take a glance. We thought it was most appropriate. What we have is the council districts listed. This is the amount billed, and this is the amount collected for the year 2020. We also did the year 2021 as well. If you look at it at a glance, you can just look at a couple. The first one is $15,581,572.66. That's District 1. And then we can go down to some other districts as well. And then we actually look at the Finance Committee's districts and just show you the collections. So we'll show you the comparison and contrast. So, okay, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Okay, so if we look at 2021, as stated early, District 1, we had the amount billed was $15 million. It's $16 million for this year. We've collected $2,554,790.97 for District 1. But we'll do a comparison and contrast on the next one. Go to the next slide. We did all 35 districts, though. Okay, so we thought it would be appropriate to do our Budget and Finance Committee district. We thought you would appreciate that. So we have the collections at a glance. Last year for 2020, what we had collected we want to collect, the goal is to collect 100% of the tax roll. Last year, at this time in December, we collected 10% of the tax roll. This time in December, we have collected 12.67%. And that means that people are paying their property taxes. We are able to, I think, process them faster as well. And we don't have as many barriers as we had last year dealing with COVID. So we have a District 2. We've collected so far $6,750,139.88. And we go to your District 18 or 17?
18.
18. So we got District 18 on there. So we have your district as well. In 2020, we collected, at this time, $4,385,465.02. This year, we have collected $5,969,958.68. And so we have the rest of the Finance Committee if they would like that as well. Continue on. The Tax Relief Program is one of our signature programs for us at the Metropolitan Trustee's Office. This is a program that allows us, through the state law of Tennessee, for tax relief for low-income, elderly, and disabled homeowners, as well as disabled veterans and their surviving spouses. This is a state program funded by the appropriations authorized by the General Assembly, On October the 6th of this year, we were excited that the Nashville and Davidson County Metropolitan Government appropriated $6,187,000 for tax relief and tax freeze programs. This means a lot to us because it does cut down on gentrification and it allows seniors, those that are most vulnerable, to remain in their homes. So we're very thankful to you and the other members of the Metropolitan Council. The tax collecting officials, we are the official tax collecting officials. And a lot of people asked us if they don't get approved for the applications, do we approve them? We only process them. We have an office, which is the tax relief office in our Metropolitan Trustee's office, that prepares those applications, and we send them to the state, and the state determines the eligibility. That is very important. We gather the necessary documents as it relates to income records, and it must show the total income of the house for tax relief. We always go back 1 year. So because we're in the 2021 tax year for taxes, we look at the 2020 records of those persons, and the total income cannot exceed $31,190 for the person's names that are on the deed. This time last year, for tax relief, our total participants were 6,075, and the total amount paid out in November during this time was $504,908.38. For 2021, this year, tax relief participants are 6,007 at this point, and the total amount paid out has been $1,121,989.14. I want to say quickly, someone may ask, why would the number be lower for the 2021 versus 2020? What happens is at the end of each tax year, different participants, for whatever reason, can be voided off of the rolls, and that's what happens. It could be due to death. It could be that they move out of the county, or just things of that nature. So that kind of explains the difference there, just so you know that. Okay, next one. The Tax Freeze Act of 2007 permits local governments to implement the program, and the Metropolitan Nashville-Davidson County became the first jurisdiction in the state to establish the tax freeze program. I really appreciate that we're always first in things like this. Under the program, qualifying homeowners aged 65 and older can freeze their taxes due on their property at the amount for the year that they qualify. Even if the tax rate increases, it will still stay the same if they are qualified. Homeowners must apply by December 31st, and they must be 65 years of age by then. It can't be January the 1st or January the 2nd. And they must provide the income to show that their total income does not exceed $43,810 for Davidson County. And you can only apply for tax freeze and tax relief for one property. A lot of applicants ask this, can they apply for various properties? And it has to be the main residence where you live. So we always try to remind them of that. And you can only apply in one county. And the state usually catches it if someone tries to apply in different counties. For the 2021 year, our tax freeze participants at this point are 6,945. We're really excited about this. We're excited because we partnered with the Titans. We partnered with the NAACP and the Urban League. And so this is a project that we called Keep Nashville Home, and the numbers are much higher for the tax freeze this year. Applications for both programs can be completed via mail or in person. Because of the COVID-19 and social distancing guidelines, the office has encouraged everyone, if possible, to submit their information via mail, or you can call us over the phone and we'll work with you. We have tax specialists that are really good at this. And I think because of COVID, we all changed our processes. And it used to be that you had to come in. So some of the information would say that if it was printed before 2020, but now we allow people to apply over the phone or apply online for tax freeze or tax relief. Yes. I often have common questions. People ask if they come and they pay their property after February the 28th. They ask me, can I waive the interest and the fees? And I cannot. The state law does not allow that. I cannot nor can any trustee in the state of Tennessee waive interest fees because they are late. The interest rate is 1.5 per month and is charged every month on the first day of that month. The deadline to pay the taxes so that they're not considered delinquent is February the 28th, and it doesn't make a difference what day this 28th falls on. It can fall on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. February the 28th is the final day, and after that day, taxes are considered delinquent. The final deadline to apply for tax relief and tax freeze is April the 5th, and we always encourage that. And we hope that that data that we showed earlier, we'll share that with you, will help your constituents as well, because if you want to do an extra boost to remind people to pay their taxes, I think it's very important to encourage that, because a lot do come in the end and ask if their interest can be waived. And they're very good people, and I say, well, if I waive your interest, I can do it, but I'll probably go to prison, and I don't want to do that. So, next slide. So what we have here is our 2020 mail versus our 2020 mail. And this is the mail that comes through our banks, and the persons where we have the walk-in payments, those are the different branches. Of course, we have First Horizon, Tennessee, and we think that this is a great program because, once again, it allows people to walk into the various locations. I think it's 33, is it? It's 15 locations throughout the city, so they don't have to come to 2nd Avenue to pay their taxes in person. And so if we look at those two numbers, you can see the overall numbers are up this year. For 2021, there are 912 persons that have used the various branches, the 15 branches, and in 2020, it was 577. And so at this point, there's 18,192 parcels that have been paid. Last year around this time, it was 17,000. Our collections total so far is $65,293,551.43. So we're really excited. Tax collections are up and people are paying. What we have right here is mortgage, which are the largest part that account for our role in tax collections. And so between this year and last year, you can see it's about a difference of 7 parcels that were paid, but it made a big difference. So it's $964,043.59, and last year was $864,580.37. And that's the difference between 2020 and 2021. And mortgages account for the largest portion of our property taxes, and they usually come around December or January. This is the number of parcels for the 2020-21 year, and we call this in-house. We call our in-house, it's actually the Metropolitan Trustee's Office. So 7,793 were paid in-house 2020 around this time last year. And for 2021, it was 11,439. And as you can see, the amount we collected this year has been $55,273,324.88, and last year was $26 million and some change. We want to thank you for giving us this time. There are also 2 other organizations that we partner with, and we had a very successful year. One is the Housing Fund, and we want to publicly thank them. The Housing Fund we really appreciate because it fills in the gap for those persons that may not be 65 years or older. They may not be disabled. They may not be a veteran. With the Housing Fund, you can be any age. We really love that. And then they take the MSA for Nashville and kind of come up with an overall amount that you cannot exceed, and it is much higher than what ours is. And then we received a lot of payments last year. Do you remember off the top of your head how many it was? About the amount? It was about it was $500,000 that they paid towards people's property taxes last year. And so they fill in the gap as well. And it's not any liens or anything that's put on a person's house. So we were very excited about that. $500,000, once again, they could use that program along with the tax relief and the tax free. So you could qualify for both, or you could qualify for one. And then the Metro Action Commission fills in the gap as well. And that's a lower threshold, though, than our office. And they only pay the amount for delinquent property taxes. So this concludes our presentation. We thank you so much for your time. We hope that it was informative to you, and please know that we appreciate everything that you do for our office in terms of providing funding so that we can help keep seniors in their home, veterans in their home, and disabled persons in their home. We really appreciate that. And if there's anything that our office can do for you, please feel free to call myself or Mr. Hampton. Transparency is our goal. We believe we accomplish that through newsletters. We send out newsletters. We created a tax profile for each district this year. We additionally send out physical newsletters as well. Efficiency in our overall collections, it continues to go up each year, and accountability by going out into the community and doing presentations. We did a lot of presentations last year with the council members. We did them in churches, and we did them virtual. So once again, we really thank you. We appreciate you. This concludes our presentation. Council Member Allen, we thank you, and Vice Chair Swarer, we appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I have to step away, but I do want to do the presentation. And Mr. Hampton, who's my Director of Finance, he's also the office manager, is more than capable. He'll do a wonderful job. So thank you once again for the time. I have to leave. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We've rearranged our schedule slightly to accommodate multiple bookings for busy people, and I appreciate the trustee being able to be here. I want to back up for a second and acknowledge my vice chair, Councilmember Zulfat Swara, who is here with us, and hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions that the rest of us can't come up with, because she's our finance whiz, and I'm grateful to have her. We are doing this series in the hopes of educating anyone in the public who's interested in how the Metro Council puts together the budget and how this budget works. And so just to give a very brief overview, this is a typical year. This is fiscal year 2021. We're 1 year beyond that. And I just want everyone to get the big picture of the two pieces of our budget, our revenue and our and how we spend the money. And the key thing there is that very large blue piece of the pie is property taxes. And that's why we're starting this Budget 101 with the discussion of how property taxes are calculated and collected. In the following week, we will then look at the other pieces of our revenue pie, which are local option sales tax and grants and contributions and other revenue. So just to give people an understanding of the big picture, we are currently at a $2.6 billion budget, just so you'll know what we're working with there. And then I want to show you, again, very generally, how that money gets spent. And we'll move into that in January as we continue this series. And as you can see there, the very large green piece of the pie is education, which is 37 to 38% of our budget. And we will have MNPS come and present to us as the biggest thing that we spend our money on. Other big pieces are public safety, general government, and debt service, and so we will also devote time to those in upcoming series. So that is the big picture on our budget. I'm going to throw that out there every time we have one of these so people will know where what we're talking about fits in. So this is why we're starting with property taxes. So with that, this is the schedule that we'll be following, where we get our money from for the next 2 weeks, and then in January we'll be looking at how we spend the money, again, starting with the priorities that were shown in the pie chart. And then finally, in February, we will have community discussions to talk about different aspects of the budget and let different people show their perspective on that. So with that overview, we're now going to get back in order that we were supposed to, and I would like to invite our property assessor to come forward, Vivian Wilhoit and her team, and tell us about how all of this gets decided based on where your property is. So Ms. Wilhoit, I will try to get your project up while you're coming up here. That one's done. I clicked the right one. All right, I'm going to let you take it from there. Welcome.
Okay, and I'm going to Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you so much for being here.
Good evening. First, I'd like to say thank you to Council Member Burkley Allen, Chairperson of the Budget and Finance Committee, and also to Chairperson Zolfat, very good friend and Vice Chair of the Finance Committee. You got the right person.
I got the right person.
Yes, exactly. And also to those who are watching today in the viewing audience, I appreciate this opportunity to join with the Budget and Finance Committee for the second time regarding their budget series, our series, Finance Series 101. I think this is a very critical topic, and while we did start with the tax collection, before you can collect taxes, you have to know your value. So it starts with a value for all property owners in Nashville, Davidson County. As I said before, the second time to participate, and I want to provide for you, Chairperson Allen, the information you have requested was just the assessments process. We will be coming back during the budget period to provide you with definitive information regarding valuation of properties. So let's start there, the assessment process. Before you can understand how the collections of the taxes are done, our responsibility as the assessor of property is to identify, list, appraise, and classify all taxable properties to achieve fairness and equity in values and prepare the annual assessment roll in a timely manner. Now, we must do this in a reappraisal year as well as a non-reappraisal, as well as in the non-reappraisal years. That's very critical. So our responsibility is constant and routine in each year. So just to start with the reappraisal year, or what is reappraisal? That is the assessor of property's 4-year plan that's been approved by the State Board of Equalization to reappraise. We immediately start the next reappraisal after we've completed the present reappraisal. And in the first year, to understand the assessment process, we must do visual inspections. It takes about 3 years to get that done when you're considering the fact that Davidson County has more than 264,000 parcels, residential and commercial. It is in the 4th year where we establish our value models and we calibrate and analyze those models to ensure that they are correct. Why must we reappraise? Very simple. From one reappraisal year to another, market values, they do change because you buy your home or your business for it to appreciate, not to depreciate, but it could depreciate. So either way, in a reappraisal period, it is then that market values are recognized that have changed, but they do not change uniformly. So we reappraise to restore equity and value. If we didn't do a reappraisal, we will have property owners in a cold, depressed market that could very well be paying more than their fair share. And we don't want that. Now, when we think about Davidson County, there is no depressed market. Yeah. You may have areas that have not increased as much as the medium percentage of countywide, but there aren't any depressed markets in Davidson County, but we consider depressed markets to be those areas that have increased by less than the countywide medium average. We have completed the 2021 reappraisal successfully. We used accepted appraisal practices. We analyzed the sales data in our market. We used the cost approach, the income approach, and the sales approach to establish value. We complied with the uniform standard of the Professional Appraisal Practice, for short, USAP. And we also complied with guidelines from the State Board of Equalization. Once we've done all of that, we established market value as of 1/1 for that year and sent property owners their new value. So what happens in a non-reappraisal year or in the non-reappraisal years? First, we have to start right again or over again to do visual inspections of the existing properties. We begin with visual inspections of those taxable properties. We pick up the new permitted and non-permitted improvements for valuation using the cost approach, income approach, and the market approach to value, and the accepted appraisal practices. When we identify new construction in a non-reappraisal year, it must be valued based on the value of the calibrations for the most recent reappraisal. So we establish those calibration models in the reappraisal year, and we continue to use those models in the non-reappraisal years. Once again, we must comply with the USPAP standards, as well as the State Board of Equalization guidelines. And every year, we must establish the value for the construction and improved properties as of 1/1 of that year. Non-reappraisal years, a property owner can appeal their value. As a matter of fact, in any year, a property owner, or every year, a property owner can appeal their value. So we look at the time when your tax bill is sent out. And we feel like by opening the appeals process at that time, which it is now open as of November 1, it gives an opportunity for the property owner to really be focused on what is their value, and many times that comes to their attention when they see their tax bill. So the appeals process is now open, and it's open for the 2022 assessment year. This is where a property owner gets the first opportunity to file an informal review. They don't have to file an informal review, but they get the first opportunity to file their informal review. And then the next opportunity is where they can file their formal appeal. That's almost, in a sense, where the rubber meets the road, to make their appeal to the Independent Metropolitan Board of Equalization. This is very important that you be aware of when you're filing your 2022 informal review, or whether you're filing to the Independent Metro Board of Equalization. Remember, when you file the 2022 assessment year appeals, it will not, and I restate, it will not affect your 2021 tax billing that the property owner received in October of this year of 2021. So you are looking to seek an amendment to your value for your October 22 tax bill. So you're seeking an amendment to your value. That is what you are appealing. We do an amazing amount of consumer outreach, and we've been doing that since I took office in 2016. My amazing staff do an exceptional job in helping me getting the word out and structuring ways that we can communicate to the Davidson County community. In reference to the opening of the appeals process for the 2022 assessment year, we've established yet another consumer outreach effort that you should be seeing on your Facebook platforms, your Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, we use them all. We want to connect to our community and ensure that they understand what are their rights when it comes to appealing their values. Let me just share this one that is now available on social media status, and we look forward to it being shown on the Metro 3 channel.
Hello, I'm Vivian Wilhoit, Assessor of Property for Metropolitan Nashville and Davidson County. As you know, reappraisal 2021 deadlines have passed to appeal your property value for the 2021 assessment year. However, the process to appeal your value for the 2022 assessment year is open. Please contact our office to file your informal review of your property value. The best way to appeal is by filing online at www.padctn.org. Or you can call 615-862-6080. Remember, the appraised value you were provided in the 2021 reappraisal year is for ad valorem tax purposes and remains the same until the next reappraisal in 4 years, unless there's a change to your property. The informal review decision will be provided to you in May of 2022. Thereafter, if you disagree with the decision, you'll have yet another opportunity to file a formal appeal to the Independent Metropolitan Board of Equalization. We want to hear from you. If you disagree with your value, we want to hear from you. Or if you agree with your value, we want to hear from you. Here at the Assessor of Property, we value you.
Hold your applause. But these type of consumer outreach efforts cannot be possible without my amazing staff, and that would be, to my left, here is Deputy Chief Brad Pigg. To my right, Deputy Chief of Information Technology Brad Pigg. To my right, Deputy Chief of Administration, Ms. Christy Scott. And also we have here one of our amazing staffers, David Booth, there he is, who is also in the IT department. And who's not present with us and who also does an amazing job, along with the remaining staff, is Deputy Chief of Operation Randy Ward. And I know that he's watching. So I stand ready for any questions that you may have.
And we can play catch up on trustee questions as well. I did ask for questions to be sent in ahead of time, so I'll ask those, and then if my vice chair has any questions you would like to ask, I'll recognize you as well. Can you talk about the difference between, you mentioned that your office does valuations based on cost, income, and market.
Correct.
So very briefly, what does that mean? And if those three methods disagree with each other, which one wins out?
Okay. For the viewing audience, and to keep it simple, the cost approach has to deal with what it takes to actually establish the property itself. That's a general statement of cost approach. The income approach is the approach to value which utilizes for businesses, and we have to look at revenues, we have to look at receipts, we have to look at expenses, we have to look at various things that the business uses in order to operate, and the valuation is arrived by using the income approach. And then there's the sales approach, and I state that one last because sales approach is the one that is most often used. That is where we look at your property and we compare it, or we say comparatives, to similar properties with like amenities, characteristics, sometime location if we can. Can't always compare a corner lot to a corner lot, but mostly the amenities of the property itself and its characteristics. And we look at the sales of your property, of what a similar property would bring, well, sales of other property, of what your property could bring on an open market. On the most part, we use the sales approach, but we do use the cost approach and the income approach in mostly commercial properties. And of course, the comparative, the sales approach is used for residential properties.
Thank you.
I hope that I've answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Vice Chair Swar, any questions for assessor or trustee? Let's see, give you the mic.
For assessor and maybe
Can you
one or
use your
two
microphone?
for oh, you have me?
Sure.
Thank you, Chair. So for Ms. Wheeler, thank you. I wanted to thank both offices because I think something that I saw this past year was the outreach. I think both of your offices did an incredible job just going out and letting the community know what's going on and to understand better. So thank you for that. So in terms of appeals, and I don't know if you have that data or not, can you tell us this reappraisal year, how many appeals have you received so far, if you have that number?
Okay, just one moment. I'm asking my. Okay, very good. And I would have had him answer, but I have the mic, so I'll go ahead and answer that myself. 10,000 formals and 8,000, opposite, 10,000 informals and 8,000 formal appeals.
And is that about the rate every 4 years, or is it higher this time, just out of
It's
curiosity?
It is slightly higher this time for the formals by 500. By 500, approximately about 500. And when you really think about it in the really in the really scheme of things, that's not a lot. I mean, 500 appeals, and you consider the fact that Davidson County has experienced a medium average increase of 34.05% countywide. I think that outreach served its purpose in helping people to understand that we want them to trust our product and that we want them to believe in the information that we provide to them.
Thank you very much. And I think that's what I was trying to get to, because with the increase in taxes, I think people understanding why there was a need for that increase probably reduced the number of appeals that you had. And so thanks for the outreach and the education.
Well, if you don't mind, Vice Chair, I'd like to say maybe possibly increase in some areas in values. The tax rate was actually reduced, as you remember. Yeah, the tax rate was reduced dramatically, yeah, drastically.
That's right. And that leads us perfectly into our next speaker from the Director's Office to talk about,
I do have a
Another
question
question,
for the
and then we'll-
trustee's office.
go for it.
Thank you, and I'll make it very short. So the first thing I wanted to know is that in the slide that was presented, there was a decrease in the number of applicants for the tax relief program. But in terms of the amount that was paid out, it went from like 500,000 to about 1.1 million. I was wondering, one, is that because of the increase in values, which probably increased taxes, or is it because of the participation of the housing fund? Because I think she talked about the housing fund also helped pay about 500,000. So I don't know if that 500,000 from the housing fund is in that 1.1 million. Do you know? And it's something you can get back with me, but I was just curious to see that the number of participants went down, but the payout had about a 40 to 45% increase.
Yes, ma'am. So the primary difference in between the the November 2020 and the November 2021 is not related to the housing fund. It's actually a lot simpler. We experienced COVID, so we had people that were out during that November, so we had less people in the office to process payments. So it has nothing to do with it. That's I hate to say that that's what happened. We had a significant number of people who experienced COVID in November and in December in our office. So now we were able, so this year, because we didn't have experienced people with COVID, we were able to process the payments, process the vouchers, and get everything filed appropriately.
Thank you. And my last question is on the interest rate is 1.5% per month. Is there a cap? Like some of the states then it would say, you only pay for 4 months or 5 months or after X amount. Does it continue to go every month?
Yes, ma'am. So the interest rate is 1.5% a month, and so if the taxpayer was to pay it in March, then there would not be any more interest. So it's just 1.5% every month that they don't pay whatever the outstanding balance is. So, and that the interest rate is set by state law. So it's not it's not set by the metro government or the trustee's office. And it's been like that for probably since my professional experience since '97, and it probably was earlier than that the rate has been set at that rate.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I've got one trustee question since you're up there.
Yes, ma'am.
So oftentimes people will ask if there's a way that we can give someone a tax break for some good reason, or if they do something that we like. When, if ever, can we give tax breaks to any entity? For example, do nonprofits ever pay tax or never pay tax? Or, I mean, what entities does state law allow us to not collect taxes from?
Probably
Into the mic.
that's actually
That's
Miss-
it.
Yeah.
the
All right.
assessors.
Over to you,
that's our
Madam
wheelhouse,
Assessor.
So I will yield.
Yeah, well, there are instances where a property owner or the property can receive concession, and it's called exemption Chairperson, churches are not automatically exempted because they're a church. They have to be provided that exemption by the State Board of Equalization. And they work through our office, through a liaison in our office, because we serve as the eyes of the state in various counties. There's 95 counties. The state has a central office in various areas, but they will ask us to do a review. And a review could be to go and check out the use of a organization, a business that has filed for exemption and states that they are using their property for anything that is a non-revenue driven purpose. And so we will do that. There have been instances, I understand, from the state when they've done discussions on the exemptions, that where someone said that they were a school and they sent in a picture of a gentleman with a straw in their mouth and reading a book. But in order for the state to know that it's not a school, you have to actually go out to the property, and that's what the assessors across the state of Tennessee do for the state of Tennessee, to confirm that the property is what it is and being used for the use that they've described. So the one concession is in reference to an exemption.
Exemption. Thank you, that's very helpful.
You're welcome.
Other questions, or can we bring up the Finance Department to tell us about how we get from assessments to taxes?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
very
hope
much,
that
Madam
everyone
Assessor.
has a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy New Year, and whatever type of excitement of festivity that you and your family do, please enjoy.
Enjoy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. And we have Mr. Tom Edelman, who is a Deputy Director from the Finance Department, and there's one other title. Budget Director. Thank you so much for being here. We are just looking for the PowerPoint.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. As Chair Allen said, I'm Tom Edelman, one of the Deputy Directors of Finance and the Budget Officer. So I look forward to talking to you a little bit about the budget and the property tax, how we deal with the property tax in the budget.
And Mr. Edelman, if you can lean into that mic just to make
Okay.
sure people can hear you, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
First of all, we'll start with kind of what the property tax is, how it works into in the budget process. These numbers are a little bit different than what Chair Allen had a little bit before. This is using FY's 22 budget. I think she was using 21.
Correct.
So the property tax in FY 22 covered approximately 57% of the revenue for the 22 budget. And this is 3 times larger than the next largest revenue source, which is the local option sales tax. And you'll be having a session on that next week, I believe. A couple of more interesting, or a couple more facts about the property tax budget. The mayor's recommended budget includes an estimated amount of property tax, which along with all the other revenue sources of the government, funds the recommended expenses or the appropriations. So when the mayor produces his budget, provides it to the Metro Council, the amount of revenue equals the amount of the appropriations, those expenses that have been determined to be what needs to be covered this year in the budget process. The council, when they get the budget from the mayor and do their deliberations and discussions around the budget, they may change the appropriations within the total amount of the budget without affecting any of the revenue. If they decide to increase the expenses, increase the appropriations, then the option that they have is to increase the tax rate. So that is either one of those options. If the mayor recommends a change to the tax rate in his budget, or if the council recommends a change in the tax rate in their deliberations, each of those require council action and public hearings on those discussions. For a process standpoint, the property tax levy ordinance, which is the ordinance that details the property tax that's being charged to homeowners during that year, has to be passed by ordinance immediately following the budget ordinance. So the next act of business that the council takes once they pass a budget by state law is required to be the tax levy ordinance. So again, remember the bottom line is that the revenue provided in property tax and all the other revenue sources must be equal to the amount of the appropriation, otherwise known as a balanced budget. So that is how we use the property tax in kind of preparing and getting the budget passed. I'm going to talk a little bit here about how the property tax rate itself comes into play. So annually on the non-reappraisal year, the tax rate begins with the rate from the prior year. So we know what the rate is for previous budget. It rolls forward into the next year. There is a determination on what that revenue will be based on the collections the prior year, and then the only increase that we see, because as the assessor said, the rate is, the appraisal stays the same for 4 years unless there's changes, is for new or improved properties when they come on to the tax rolls. So those new properties will be taxed at the existing tax rate and become part of the new tax collection for the year. So as the revenue estimates are being developed by the finance department in preparation for the budget of the year, those new tax rates, new tax collection estimates will roll in as the overall budget revenue estimates that are used to match the expenses. As I mentioned before, expenses and revenue have to match to be a balanced budget. So any recommended spending that happens above that estimated revenue would include a rate increase on the taxes. So again, as we work through the budget process, starting in the beginning of the year through the time that the mayor will submit his budget to council, where the finance director and their team is working on developing that revenue estimate from all different kinds of sources. But they're also, the administration is working on developing the spending plan, the finance director, on what needs to be covered. So as long as there's revenue to cover the expenses, the tax rate isn't adjusted. During a reappraisal year, the base rate is a little bit different, because what happens during a reappraisal year is that, and the assessor mentioned this as well, because of the reappraisal, property values increase. State law requires that Metro cannot collect more revenue on those increased values. So the tax rate is reset in what is known as a certified tax rate that the state approves, that says, okay, we had this much property tax collection in the prior year. Values have raised or lowered, but then we'll use the example of raised by this amount of money. So, or this value of the assessment. So to make the collections no more than the prior year, the rate has to drop. So that is the difference between the 2 years. One year we start with the prior year's rate. In the reappraisal years, we start with the certified tax rate. So if there's an adjustment to the tax rate required because we're funding more than the property tax and other revenues are bringing in, it is applied to the certified tax rate, not the last year's rate. So that's the difference in the two years and how we use the tax rate. This is just an example of, I mentioned before that really the change in year to year is the new growth or the improvements to properties that changes the value of the revenue that we get. So as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, the FY21 property tax budget was $1.45 billion. In FY22, it was $1.5 billion. So we saw a change in new construction, new properties of about $48 million. So even though we had a tax rate decrease, we saw more revenue coming in because of the property additions, not because of the reappraisal. And then below that is the breakout of the property taxes by what we call the 6 tax funds. The property tax is divided among the general fund of both the USD, GSD, the schools general fund, and the debt service funds of the GSD, schools, and USD, and then the general fund of the USD. So those 6 funds of the Metro government are the tax funds related to property taxes. This is a chart of a 50-year history of the property tax rate. So as you can see, there's a typical 4-year flat rate in there because most of the rates over the history of Metro stay flat for those 4 years. There's nothing that prohibits the council, the mayor proposing, or the council enacting a rate increase in any year. But it has been, if you look back over the history, a fairly stable between reappraisals. So we started out in '72 at a $6 tax rate, and we're currently at a little over $3. So as you can see, the spikes in the valleys are reappraisal years generally. The spikes are adjustments to a certified tax rate or a tax increase. And another comparison is Metro compared to our other large cities in the state. Our tax rate is relatively low compared to the others, and something that I think the mayor and the council has noticed over the years and been proud to talk about.
Make sure you say that good and loud.
Very well noted. So again, this is the similar to the slide that the chair showed earlier, but again, this is the 22. This shows the expenditures of where the money goes, the property tax and the other revenue sources. And the education fund, again, is the largest piece of that, and they get a significant portion of the property taxes as well. Finally, there is a lot of information on Metro Finance website. Most of this information is there. We have the videos, the ordinances, the presentations, budget books. Specifically, if you look at Nashville.gov, Citizens Budget, all the budget-related information is there, and it's updated as we go through the budget cycle. So that will be, currently the FY22 information is out there, but if there's any information you want to find on the budget as we're working through the budget process, a lot of it will be there and easy to find. So that concludes my presentation, Chair.
Thank you. Good timing. We have just a second or two left, and I do want to acknowledge that we also have the finance director here, Kelly Flannery, in the back, keeping an eye on her staff, so we appreciate you being here as well. I think you touched on my one question is what the current rate is 3 what at this point?
155.
3.28.
3.288, yeah.
For the Urban Services District. 2.953 for the General Services District, which is the outer part of the county that does not necessarily get street lights or sewer and trash pickup. So they pay a lower tax rate. And we also are getting ready to have a study of that just to make sure that we've got the ratio between the General Services District and the Urban Services District correct. Vice Chair Sawar, do you have any questions you would like to ask in the remaining 2 minutes that we have?
Not really. I think that it was interesting that thank you, Chair. If I hear correctly, so in looking at the revenue projection from the mayor's office side, you start with the rate from the previous year, and you look at the revenue that you have from last year, right? And then you go into looking at whether that will serve all the expenses that you want in order to be able to determine whether there should be a rate increase or not. So do you look at that globally, or do you look at it specifically? And you may not have time for all of that, but what I meant is, do you look at it micro detail level, or is it like at the department level? Like last year, we got this much, and this year, this is what we want to spend. If you can answer that.
For the revenue, it's very specific. We'll look at the property tax as one revenue source, sales tax as another revenue, and we get into the detail when we look at the revenue. Typically, when we ask departments, and I think this is where you're getting to your question, when we ask departments, they start with a baseline. We give them a baseline budget of what their this year we're looking at FY23, so the FY22 we provide, and they already know, but we provide the departments their baseline budget. And then we ask them to come back to us with modifications to that budget. So they're not looking at, some of the departments collect revenue, and they provide us revenue estimates for that. But for their expense budget, they provide us modifications to what they're proposing to do next year versus what they had this year. So as we work through their expense budget, we will go into detail asking them all kinds of questions to understand what it is that they're proposing. The revenue estimate, we work on that from department levels that collect revenue. We want to understand what their revenue is, how they got to the proposed number, and we validate that with them. We go back and forth with them. On the central revenues, we have a very detailed and granular look at all of the different revenue sources that we have, and make sure that we're giving a good, solid estimate based on our models and prior history to come up with a good estimate for that.
Thank you. I think that's what I wanted to hear, but I also wanted to verify that you don't finalize your revenue until you also look at what you'll be spending it on, if you need to look at other revenue sources or increase revenue some other ways.
I would say we finalize the revenue estimate, and expenses, if they're different than that, then we start looking at adjustments.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Good question.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We have timed this well. I certainly want to thank everyone for being here, Assessor, Director, and the trustee who had to leave earlier, and the Finance Director. Hopefully this information gives people a good idea of where this big chunk of our budget comes from, and we'll talk next week about sales tax grants and some other miscellaneous sources. So we hope people will join us next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. You are welcome to come in the council chambers or watch online. You can stream on Facebook. There are a list of ways to do that that'll be on the Metro calendar. So thank you so much, and we are concluded. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.